Hey everybody. So obviously the big news yesterday was the signing of Brayden Point by the Tampa Bay Lightning, who was their last remaining restricted free agent, but their most important restricted free agent. Signs a 3-year deal with the Tampa Bay at just $6.75 million per year, which is a ridiculously team-friendly cap hit for a player like Brayden Point. And I'll just go right into it. I am absolutely shocked that Point took this contract at under $7 million per year. Brayden Point had 92 points last season. 92 points. And he's making under $7 million a year. Where we have players making 10 plus, 11 plus for less points than what Brayden Point has. And he takes a deal at under $7 million. Tampa Bay and Boston are two teams that are consistently getting their players to take team-friendly, very undervalued contracts. Tampa Bay, to get Steven Stamkos at only $8.5 million per year is very team-friendly. Nikita Kucherov, only $9.5 when he could have easily gotten 11 somewhere else. Point now under $7 million per year. Victor Hedman is under $8 million per year. He's one of the best defensemen in the entire NHL. Tampa Bay Lightning players continue to take team-friendly deals and take less money to keep that team together. And Boston, we've seen that with a lot of their players as well. Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy. They're taking less money than what they could have possibly gotten to stay on that team. And, once again, Tampa Bay now has everyone signed. Their roster is together, and they've managed to stay under the salary cap by $1.7 million. So a beautiful job by GM Julien Brisebois in Tampa Bay to keep this team together for at least another year and get them under the salary cap, because they are a team that is right up against the cap. And now, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to not lose significant players next offseason, which I think that makes this a huge, huge year for Tampa Bay. If they're going to win a cup, now is the time to do it, because they only have $1.7 million in cap space. The only unrestricted free agents they have coming up at the end of this season are very low money players. Kevin Shattenkirk is the most expensive one at just $1.75 million. So they're not getting a lot of cap, a lot of money off of the cap at the end of this season with free agents leaving. And they've got multiple major restricted free agents who are going to be looking for significant raises. Mikhail Sergachev is an RFA next year. Eric Chernak is an RFA next year. Anthony Cirelli is an RFA next year. And Matthew Joseph is an RFA next year. So all four of those players are going to be making significantly more money than what they're paid now. And there's not a lot of money coming off of the salary cap with free agents leaving. So Tampa's going to have a very difficult offseason once again next summer. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is that for this 2019-20 season, they have been able to keep everybody, and they've kept the team together and stayed under the salary cap. And it's the first thing I thought of when I saw that Brayden Point signed for $6.75 million was Mitch Marner, because Mitch Marner, similar points. Marner, I believe, had 94 last year. Point had 92. So very, very similar with point production. Both young players. Point's actually a center. He can play wing, but he mostly plays center. Great all-around player. And he's making significantly millions of dollars less than what Mitch Marner got. So Mitch Marner demands almost $11 million from the Toronto Maple Leafs for his contract, and signs with Toronto at 10.8 or 10.9 million, whatever it ended up being, just under 11. Brayden Point is under 7, and they're very, point production wise, they're virtually the same. Actually, I think Brayden Point's a better all-around player. If I was starting a team and they were like, all right, your chance to pick a young player to start with, you can either pick Mitch Marner or you can pick Brayden Point. I'm picking Brayden Point. He's a center, which I think is more valuable than a winger. He's great on the power play, not saying that Marner isn't, but he's great on the power play. He was a 40-goal scorer last year, which Mitch Marner was not. Marner gets a lot of his points through assists. I think Brayden Point's better defensively and more of a two-way player. I think I would, if I'm starting a team, I am picking Brayden Point over Mitch Marner. And I think I don't think I'm the only one who would say that. And Marner's making almost $11 million, and Brayden Point signs it under $7 million. It is shocking to me. I would have bet my entire life savings that he would need at least $7+ million per year to sign. And I would have lost my life savings on that bet because he just took 6.75. I'm shocked, honestly. That's an incredibly low cap hit for the player that Brayden Point is. And a lot of the argument about Mitch Marner is that if he wasn't playing with John Tavares, that he wouldn't be the player that he was. But Point plays on a great team too. They're both, I don't really, if they both were playing in Ottawa, I think their point production would be a whole lot less, but that goes for both of them. So I don't think you can look at one player and say it's who he plays with and then look at the other player and say it's not, because they both play on absolutely stacked offensive teams, which definitely inflates their scoring numbers a little bit. But if you play on a great team, it inflates everybody's numbers. Nikita Kucherov wouldn't be sure, he's a great player. He's one of the definitely top 5 players in the NHL, without a doubt. He wouldn't be putting up the points that he did if he wasn't playing on the Tampa Bay Lightning. If he was playing on, the Minnesota Wild, I think you'd see a much different point totals from Nikita Kucherov. Sure, he'd still be a great player, but he wouldn't be, 110 points every season. And you can say that about just about anybody across the league. Who you play with is very important. So, Point, he's an incredible player. He's really, really good. He plays on a great team, which I think, makes him look even better and allows him to produce points at a higher rate he would on other teams. I'm just shocked at the low amount of money that he took. Now, it's only a 3-year bridge deal. It's not a long-term deal. And I can tell you, when he's 26 and this deal is up, he is going to be making a boatload of money after the next 3 years. But talk about a team-friendly contract for Brayden Point. And that keeps the Tampa Bay Lightning together. They're able to do it. They stay under the salary cap. And it's going to be difficult for them to stay under the salary cap next year. They're probably not going to be able to keep everybody together next season. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters now is 2019-2020, and this is a team that is going to be looking to win the Stanley Cup this year, because they, once again, are, on paper, they're probably the best team in the league when you look at their roster. Absolutely stacked, and will once again be competing not only for the Stanley Cup, but the President's Trophy, the #1 team in the league. They're right up there once again this season. So Brayden Point takes an incredibly team-friendly contract. Mitch Marner did not. And that's an interesting dynamic, because I think Point overall is the better all-around player. But with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.